Moin und hallo beim Filmfest Bremen. Mein Name ist Yugen.
Und ich bin Susanne und wir sind vom Indiefilmtalk Podcast. Wir gehen direkt ins Gespräch zu dem wunderbaren Film MACGUFFIN zusammen mit dem Regisseur Anna Asimov. Hello to Kiev.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hello to Bremen.
It's really nice to see you. It's really nice to get the chance to talk to you because you brought us a movie which is really like a poetry, like a diary that we listening to, and we get this whole of lots images who are actually made by you. So you have this beautiful sentence said, no cast, no crew, isn't it what we always dreamed about? Was it also your dream? Could you make your dream come true with this film?
Well, actually, it's been maybe for 20 years that I had been dreaming to make a film without cast or crew. I mean, mostly with physical things in the shot, in the frame. I made maybe 20 years ago. I made few attempts, few tries, but absolutely different topics, but still, with the same approach. But I think it didn't work out at that time. And a couple of years ago, I made a short film with the same name, MacGuffin, but totally different story. That was also a search for something that never existed. At the end of the day, this COVID lockdown situation implied the idea that this is the kind of the right opportunity to make the idea true. I mean, to bring the idea into reality, because that's the best justification to have, a silent city void of people, with deserted streets for a right reason. I mean, for understandable reason.
And that's actually what
So,
makes it so deep that you really can get lost in these pictures and in this voiceover and the voice that we're hearing. You also mentioned Albert Camus. Is he some important person for you? Some important writer?
well, to me, there are two sources. I mean, of my well, I'm a philosopher in the background. I mean, my professional background. I made a PhD in philosophy in 1995, a long time ago,
Right.
and I was very much into German existentialism and French existentialism. And the French part is actually Sartre and Albert Camus. So to me, Camus' idea of resisting the circumstances, kind of challenging circumstances, sometimes tragic, sometimes destined to fail, but still challenging it, still trying to prove oneself a human, is very vital. So, and of course, when the situation started, and I right away remembered the plague. The film is not based on plague, but somehow inspired by the spirit of this novel by Camus. But at the same time, I would like to refer to Hegel's was vernünftig ist wirklich, was wirklich ist vernünftig.
Oh wow!
What is
So nice to
what
hear
what is
the German title.
what is yeah, I have a little German. I can read, but I'm far from perfect speaking. Yeah.
Ah, we could
So
do the
what is
whole interview in German. No, I don't want
no,
to
I don't
force
think
you.
so. I don't think so. That would be too many mistakes, and very
I'm
slow.
sure you would be perfect.
You're very kind, too kind with me. So, but I think I have to translate it into English for the English audience. It's what is reasonable is real. What is real is reasonable. It's not to justify the reality, but to understand that whatever happens happens for a reason. So, To bring it back, I mean, this situation was not occasional when it happened last spring and is still on. It's a kind of a test for human civilization, for human being. And it's a challenge for a human to remain human. First of all, to remain intelligent, thinking being.
Did you directly?
Well, if we
sorry.
are, we can survive. Yeah, please,
No,
please.
no problem. And did you directly start?
Yugen, please. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
The guy knows too much, I think so.
He knows. He knows a lot.
I would like to know, did you directly, where the stuff happened last year, start with shooting this movie, or what was the point where you say, I have to start now?
Well, I had, is it a question? Am I right that you mean did I start? Did I have some material before, or
No, when did you start? Did you start shooting it, for example? I mean, the situation happened last year. Was it directly where it happened, where the lockdown started, for example, that you said, okay, what shall I do? I'm doing this. Or was it like maybe it took some time for you to calm down, realize everything around, and then you said, okay, now I have some ideas. I'm starting with some ideas which I was wanting to do since years.
well, part of it, I used for this film some videos which I had for years. Maybe probably 40% of videos, but 60% or maybe 70% I still need to count. I never did. I made later on. I mean, the production time, it started from development of the idea, elaborating upon the idea of making something without something with mostly physical things in frame, which I had contemplated for years. It started in the middle of March, right after the lockdown was announced, and the film was ready in the mid-May. So it took me about 2 months for the entire process of pre-production, production, and post-production.
So one question I think which many people who sort of the movie would ask is, how do you decide which image you have to record for that movie? Because you have so many interesting, nice images inside. And yeah, how was your process in, okay, this is the point, I need to record this?
First of all, Yugen, thank you so much for this.
You're
for
so
this
kind. You're more kind
reference.
than I think than us. Sorry.
Yeah, really, I will take it as a compliment. It's very nice that you said that there are nice images. Well, it's sort of like writing a poem. When you write a poem, you don't know what comes first, the idea or the word, because the words should look beautiful and sound beautiful. It should match other words, and when you match them, at the end of the day, you understand, you do realize the idea. So, but in this case, sometimes it was like this. Some shots it were like I was walking down the streets because there was no curfew in Kiev at that time, but still many people preferred to stay at home. But there was no curfew. So, and I was just walking down the empty streets, and there were many shots, actually. I had made much more shots, and I had to choose from, which probably, as I thought, conveyed the idea of loneliness, conveyed the idea of solitude. Sometimes I made image especially for the message. For example, when it's like a puzzle, like a Lego puzzle, you are matching together different parts, and then you see some blank spot. And this blank spot, you think, oh, what image should match it? This one. I'm trying to avoid talking about the images because that would be kind of spoiler.
So
Yeah,
it's like a huge puzzle, and in the end, it all
yeah.
comes together. Talking about the montage, how was it with the voiceover? When, I mean, also, did you had the text and did the writing and then recorded the voiceover and then came with the images and maybe this part, or how did it work out? So what have you done first? Even also here the question, what was first?
Okay. So first there were videos, as I said, which I had already made even years before and last year, and it's or maybe in early March, just occasionally, sporadically, I made some videos which I think are cinematic enough. Just I call it my notebook. Yeah, and then when I realized the concept, I started writing the text. I started writing the text, and at the same time, for example, I could walk out, have a walk for 2 or 3 hours, and making some videos, coming back home and writing a text. It was alongside, well, when I made the kind of working copy of the film, what I mean as a working copy, it was, the video montage, the editing, I just compiled all videos. As I said, to match the principle of a poem. It was very important to me to kind of juxtapose the videos in terms of their speed, in terms of their color, in terms of their, in rather more formal terms than content. Because to me, the form in this regard is the very content. The form is the very message, because the voiceover, the narration does not exactly show what is in the frame. Sometimes it's in contrast, sometimes it's to emphasize what I show. It's more emotional and more, let's say, metaphorical than exactly matching the narration. So I made a working copy, and I made my own voiceover, working kind of non-professional voiceover.
Really nice
Then
voiceover. Really nice.
well, thank you. Then I just recorded it on my iPad. Then I contacted Vlad. I need to recommend this guy. He can make because we worked. It's not our first project working together, and when I had a chance to show our first feature to a Hollywood producer, he said the sound is Hollywood-like. I told him, if you saw in what conditions, technical conditions, this guy is working alone, in his apartment, small room, you would be surprised. Well, so this guy is doing a really good job, and probably this project is not for him, to show everything he can, because it was just voiceover. But he's always ready to experiment. I told him, Vlad, I need just a voiceover, because and there should be no sounds of environment for some reason. I cannot say that as a spoiler again, and he said, okay. Well, I came to his place and put my text on my lap and on my laps and recorded with a microphone, and we made it within kind of 2 sessions. There was one basic session, and then a couple of days later, I wanted to correct some things, and I did. So it was just 2 days, maybe overall 7 or 6 hours, like that.
That's really
And
impressive.
then
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was a crazy time, I absolutely, I can't even know how I kind of how we managed to do that
That
in
is
such a
really
short
quick.
time.
Yeah. When I thinking about how when we do podcasts or whatever, of course this is like real time talking. But if you really have to record something because you have the text written down and it has to fit somehow perfectly to the images and everything, or it has to sound how you have it in mind, I think that's really tough and a really short time.
Interesting that you did it in this small team, right? Only your colleague and you.
And
I
that's
think
it. No crew.
every filmmaker, I think,
Nearly.
want to know want to know the person who you introduced before, and want to know where he's living, because you can work with him together.
How was it?
Yeah.
When I'm thinking about next steps, are there, do you think you would like to do a project like this again? Because it's so nice, you are working on your own and you can fulfill somehow your dream. You can do what you want to do. Of course, you're also a little bit, what is the word? You just had a little of technical stuff, but on the other hand, you were really free to do whatever you want. So, do you have in mind to do a project like this again, or?
Such a small project again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to, because so far I have a portfolio of scripts for different budgets. I mean, and it's our third project actually, and the first two ones are the still low budget but much more expensive, and they were. I mean, there was a crew, there was a cast, and they were kind of convenient fiction films, and this one is, it's I have to again refer to Gestalt psychology. This German term,
German term,
kind of
Gestalt?
Gestalt.
when you.
Gestalt?
Yeah, Gestalt, yes, exactly. It's in psychology. It means that you have to complete your Gestalt. So it means that you have some plan. I think it comes from Jung or
Okay. Okay.
Gestalt therapy.
You know
So
more than we do.
Yeah.
it's
But we're listening really closely to you to learn.
Yeah, we like a
well,
sponge. We're like a
you
sponge, and
you
like
you
all.
you you, you guys have just great thinkers. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and yeah, and it means that when you have something that bothers you, some spot, to fill in, some gestalt, I mean, some project not completed, which you started but haven't completed. That was my gestalt to complete for
Okay.
years. I have done already now, and but I have in my portfolio many scripts, which yes do demand more money, but still provide for rather different experience I would like to enjoy.
But I would be happy to see
So,
something similar again, because I think we filmmakers, we are often like thinking about the best camera, the best, or thinking about the aspect ratios, thinking about
Biggest set.
yeah, the biggest set, and raw or not raw, and so on. So maybe it's interesting, as you did this movie with this. I heard that you had only one camera, only a smartphone camera, and
yeah.
shot all this movie, finished it, recorded with your colleague the sound, not in the studio, and finished it, and it's now here in Bremen, right? So, what do you think? Maybe we filmmakers, we are too much. We want too much the best technology to shoot our things, and we are not so open again to only shoot, just shoot.
Yugen, I think it depends on the idea. I mean, on the challenge, on the film specifics. For example, you probably know that Steven Soderbergh made a couple of films with
On smartphone.
iPhone 7 Plus.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, with iPhone 7 Plus, and he only had 12-inch panel, left panel. That was all his lighting. You understand me, yeah? And the product looks quite professional. I mean, but my opinion, there could be two ways to use smartphones and films. One way is just to show that oh yeah, smartphone can be good enough to make a very or a rather professionally looking film. It's more of advertisement and probably very good if you want to save money, if you don't have enough budget. I do have a project, by the way, which could be better made with with AI. Yes, but it can be really made with. I'm planning, by the way, to make it with two smartphones, and it will be still good, But it is because of budget limitations. It is because of budget limitations, but also it does have some advantages because when you have yeah. So it still takes some time, when you make a shot, you want to you need to see what it will look like in
Graded.
post-production
Mm-hmm.
format right now. Yes, right now. There is technology now allowing to do that. You make a shot and right away you not only see it in the monitor, I mean in the playback, but also, you can spend some time and in a few minutes to see what it will look like in the post-production in future. Yeah, right. But you are still on the scene of shooting. But of course, when you make it with iPhones, if it's an art house film, if it's a kind of very low budget indoor, when you make it indoor, you can make it very perfectly with iPhones. What Steven Soderbergh said, that you can, it's very convenient in this regard. And he is Steven Soderbergh. He is well established and well known, award winner.
I think
So,
the
but
keyword
there,
is sorry. I think the keyword is here know your gear and know what you
Yeah.
want to shoot. I think
Know
so.
your content, and
Yeah.
then
yeah.
you are actually quite free to get to get whatever you want, or you can choose what kind of technique you need to actually tell that story,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that is really encouraging from
Absolutely,
your
absolutely,
project.
Susan.
Yeah. So
Thank you. Absolutely, Susan. Yeah, but may I complete my answer
Yeah.
because I haven't
of
finished
course.
Sorry.
yet. Because I said about the first way, yeah, and the sorry, and the second way is when you have a kind of contact which can only be made with smartphone. Because this film is about a filmmaker who is, or some protagonist filmmaker. It's a docufiction. It's not a documentary. It's not fiction. It's a docufiction. Kind of videos are documentary. That's why it's better to be made with a smartphone because it's someone walking streets with his smartphone. So what can better create the effect of using smartphone than a smartphone? Nothing else.
Yeah.
So smartphone is the most logical choice in this regard. Because not only the cheapest one, but also the most logical one.
Makes
In
sense.
this case, of course, ever or anyone else, wants to make a film, like a mockumentary or maybe a kind of a, film imitating documentary process with smartphone as a part of the story. Of course, a smartphone is the most logical reason. I have finished, Susan. Sorry. Yeah.
No
No.
worries, no worries.
Yeah.
It's still nice to listen to you, and I would love to continue, but I think our time is finished.
Oh, it's
And
finished.
I felt it very encouraging what you just said, and I hope all the filmmakers who are listening to this Q&A, they take something out of it, so that they're trying to do films in different levels, with or without lots of technique, or just
A
to have
smartphone, what you
a
have in your
smartphone.
hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time, and wish you all the best for your film, and say bye to you, and best of luck.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Susan and Yugen, it's been very nice to talk to you, to meet you, and I wish I were there,
Yeah.
in Bremen right now.
We too.
Me too. Me too. On another time. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.